Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. It is Tuesday, April 8th, 9 a.m. We will call this meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Madam Chair, there are no additions to the agenda. However, there are some housekeeping matters to note. On your consent calendar, item 5C as in cat is being pulled, if that's okay with the board. And also on the regular part of the agenda, item 6M as in monkey and 6N as in Nancy would request that those get moved to next Tuesday's meeting, April 15th.
Thank you very much. And now we will have the closed session items read into the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For your closed session today, there are 3 items. The first is conference with your labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6. Your agency designated representatives are the Assistant County Administrative Officer, Joel Begay, your Director of Human Resources, Shanika Dixon, and your Human Resources Manager, Sabrina Mendez. Under discussion is employee organizations, all units, including all unrepresented classifications of employees but not elected officials. There are 2 existing litigation matters under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1, the Cardoza versus Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency and the Valley Groundwater Coalition versus the County of Madera, both Madera Superior Court cases. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on these items?
None online.
Okay, we will resume into closed session. Thank you very much.
We're ready.
I know. Are we on? Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors. It is Tuesday, April 8th. County Council, do we have any reportable actions from closed session?
Madam Chair, there are no reportable actions from closed session. However, the session hasn't ended, and when you would like to break and go back to the closed session items, that would be advisable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will open and close this meeting in memory of, do any of my colleagues wish to open the meeting? I'd like to open and close in memory of Eric Garcia Velasquez. He was the young gentleman that was shot and killed at the Walgreens this last week. And our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers are with his family. And if we could send a condolences to his family, that would be nice. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, so at this time, we will have our invocation by Pastor Jesse Chavez and from the Madera Rescue Mission. And I'd like to invite our veteran friend, Mr. Dan Riley, to lead us in the flag salute. Thank you. You stand if you can.
Good morning. My name is Jesse Chavez, the Executive Director of Madera Rescue Mission. Again, thank you for this opportunity. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for the supervisors to be transparent with our community. May they look out for the best interests of the people they serve in Madera. May you help them with unity, gratitude, and hope that they offer for our citizens and the work being done in our county. May their decisions be in the best interest for all. Guide them and protect them. We pray for the hurting people in our community. Comfort them. In Jesus' name we pray.
Ready? Salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor, and thank you, Dan. At this time, we will open public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for the members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any online?
None online.
Okay, I will close public comment and move on to the consent calendar. Do any of my colleagues wish to pull an item?
Madam
None.
Chair, a reminder that there's been a
Oh.
request to pull item 5C.
That's correct. Do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
None online.
Move
No.
to approve the consent calendar, exempting item C. Second.
We have a first and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. First item on the discussion, item 6A.
Board of Supervisors Department presentation of a proclamation honoring Deputy Jessica Martinez for her life-saving response.
And for this item, I'm going to hand it over to Supervisor Wamhoff to lead us.
Great. Thank you, Chairwoman. Well, there was an incident that happened back in March, and I was moved by it. And I wanted to recognize not just the sheriff's office, but the brave actions of Deputy Jessica Martinez. And I just want to read a little bit from that day. So on March 1st, 2025, at approximately 5:02 p.m., the Sheriff's Office Communications Center got a call of an unresponsive 18-month-old. And the child's father, Chad, was performing CPR, and Deputy Martinez arrived within 3 minutes of receiving that call. And she immediately assessed the dire situation. The child was blue, unresponsive, not breathing, and Deputy Martinez swiftly retrieved her department-issued automated external defibrillator, the AED, and continued life-saving measures. So the swift and decisive actions of Deputy Martinez no doubtedly contributed to the saving of young Julian. So we have a proclamation for you, but before we do that, I'd like to bring up our Sheriff Tyson Pogue to say a few words. And yeah, Deputy Martinez, if you could come up here too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, members of the board. I think there's no question about the heroics of that day, and we're extremely grateful. And you gave a great summary as to what happened. I mainly just wanted to express to add on to that, our gratitude to this board. Without your support and unwavering dedication, the tools and the equipment and the training that we would need would not happen. So often we get recognized, but I wanted to express some gratitude back to this board for making those opportunities available to us through your continued and unwavering support of equipment and training. So Deputy Martinez is an amazing deputy. She was exactly at the right place at the right time, and all of her training and all of her brilliant history came into play that day, and we're so grateful that we had that opportunity to be there when the community. Thank you, Supervisor.
Yeah, thank you. And she's a woman of few words.
I do want to say that I truly believe the true hero, this man, his father. If he wouldn't have started CPR immediately, I don't think we would have had the same outcome. So it allowed me to do what I needed to do when I got there. So I believe the true hero today is Chad.
Thank you so much. And Chad, if you could just say a few words about your experience here.
Yeah, so obviously that's a day that we'll always remember, but hope never happen again. That was, very tough to see your child in that state, where pretty much where we thought he was not going to make it. And, we thought he was going to die, but, she showed up, and within 3 minutes, the AED administered, and he started to get a pulse. And, that's when he started to get his breathing back, and things started to feel a little more normal. They did say it was a seizure that lasted over 45 minutes when he got to the hospital. And those are the kind of seizures, I guess, that they don't stop. When they don't stop, though, it leads to the person passing away. With all of that measures, CPR and the AED, all of that. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department, Valley Children's Hospital, and everybody that responded and helped us in that.
Well, we are just so happy with this outcome. We could be more thrilled with the actions of everyone. Dad, you with your CPR, and Deputy Martinez with your quick actions. We're just so thrilled of this outcome because, sometimes it doesn't end happy like this. So I do want to say, so now therefore be it proclaimed, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Madera does hereby honor and commend Deputy Jessica Martinez for her heroic and life-saving actions and extend our deepest appreciation for her service to our community. May this proclamation serve as a lasting tribute to Deputy Martinez's bravery and the exemplary service of all of our sheriff's deputies. So thank you. And if we could gather for a picture in the front, that'd be great. Can you get young Julian down here? Would that be okay?
And then I would like to ask, do we have any public comment on this item?
I'd like to say just a quick word.
Just a quick word.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the life-saving efforts that you have done, and as well as the dad. I'd like to commend the forethought of our department. I believe it was like 5 years ago or about that we implemented the use of those devices and had them installed in the vehicles. I think it shows very good foresight, and any expense was worth the life of that child right there. So thank you.
Right where you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. All right, we will move to item 6B.
Board of Supervisors Department, presentation of a proclamation declaring April 7th through the 11th, 2025 as Week of the Young Child.
Okay, thank you. Well, this is an exciting proclamation for me because selfishly, I serve as the chair of the First Five Commission, and I'm also a member of the United Way Board of Directors. And the Week of the Young Child, which is this week in April, is an opportunity for First Five and United Way to collaborate. Today, we have with us some of the staff from First Five. Specifically our executive director, Monica Ramirez. And we also have Stephanie Nathan, who is the executive director of United Way, who are here to share some exciting things that are happening in Madera County for the Week of the Young Child. Monica.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. As we enter spring, First Five Madera County wishes to give you a happy Week of the Young Child. This week is particularly special, and I am so glad that there are actually kids in the audience. We also invited our children from the Family Resource Center, but they're busy at school right now, so we just have their names in those little cutouts. But mainly what we want to remind you is that this week it's special because we celebrate young children and their families, as well as the educators who support them. It's a time to recognize the importance of the early years and to come together as a community to support our younger learners as they grow, they play, and they thrive. Madera County is home to approximately 12,000 children aged 0 to 5. That's quite a few of them, but it only accounts for 7.5% of our total population. But this small but mighty group represents our future, the future of our community. Providing a strong start in life is the best predictors of later success in school and beyond. So in recognition and celebration of this special week, First Five Madera County is teaming up with United Way of Fresno and Madera, and with a person that you're all familiar with, Stephanie Nathan, and with the state of California to launch the renowned Dolly Parton Imagination Library. It is a big deal, and many of our community members have been waiting for that for quite some time. It's been such a success that in our soft launch, we haven't really publicized it as much. We made it to the top 10 of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library in registrations. That's how well we're doing, and that's how well received this new program is going to be. It's very simple. The goal is to ensuring that all children have books at home. And when that happens, many doors open. It's a monthly subscription that will deliver developmentally appropriate, but also fun books for every child in the home via mail. And why books, you may ask? Well, simple, because books at home support school readiness that we all want. But at the same time, we know that only 25 books can be the difference between later success or challenges, regardless of the socioeconomic status of families. Once our children enroll in this program, they could actually receive up to 60 books and completely free of charge. Last but not least, as we build this family libraries, we want to share with you a fun fact that sometimes we forget, as many of us haven't been in school in quite a while. From preschool to second grade, children learn to read. By third grade, they transition and they have to read to learn. Books are important and an essential part of their upbringing. During this week, we encourage you to learn about the unique needs of the young community members, and why not spend some time with them? The libraries provide playgroups. We have a family resource center that is open to the public, and tomorrow we would have our official launch of the Imagination Library at 10 o'clock, so you're welcome to visit. And again, nothing is more invigorating and exhausting than spending some time with a toddler. So please join.
Cindy, thank you so much. Stephanie, would you like to add anything?
I'll just add that United Way is excited to partner with First Five Madera. So the Dolly Parton Imagination Library requires that there's a nonprofit partner that allows books to be shipped to children at no cost. So United Way Fresno Madera is stepping in as that nonprofit partner to allow children in Madera County to receive those books. So we're so excited about the launch. There's going to be a lot of information on social media and at various places around the community, letting families know how they can enroll and receive those free books for ages 0 to 5.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do any of my colleagues wish to have?
Just
have
one more little
Go
thing
ahead.
for the FRC, a couple little things that reminders and invitations.
Yes. So this week is Week of the Young Child, as our executive director mentioned, and today is Tasty Tuesday. So there's fun activities going on for little ones in the afternoon, and then tomorrow during the kickoff, you'll get to enjoy Work Together Wednesday. And so we invite you to our events in the afternoons. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any public comment on this item before we present the proclamation?
None on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, never underestimate a child. My granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, started reading when she was 5. She is 7 years old now. She reads at a 9th grade level. And she has read more books than most people read in a lifetime. So never underestimate their ability to comprehend and take in that information. And once they get, like you said, once they get to that point, they're reading to learn, not learning to read. And it's really important. The sky's the limit at that point.
So Monica, Stephanie, First Five, thank you. On behalf of the board, we want to present this proclamation to you. So if you'd join us for a photo. This is Lily. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item 6C.
Social Services Department, presentation of a proclamation naming April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month.
Okay, and I believe for this item, well, first of all, each year the month of April is recognized across the nation as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month, a time to reflect on the critical importance of protecting our children and strengthening the families who care for them. At this time, we have Nikki Mattis, who is the Deputy Director of our Department of Social Services, who will provide a few comments.
Good morning, supervisors and community members. My name is Nikki Matus, and I am the Deputy Director of Madera County Department of Social Services, and I oversee child welfare services. I also officially become a resident of Madera County this month.
Congratulations. Thank you.
During April, we recognize National Child Abuse Prevention Month and the importance of communities working together to support and strengthen families and prevent child maltreatment. Throughout the year, communities are encouraged to increase awareness about child and family well-being and work together to implement effective strategies that support families and prevent child abuse and neglect. Activities are implemented in partnership with the Madera County Child Abuse Prevention Council and the Madera County Department of Social Services. This month, the Child Abuse Prevention Council are hosting a number of events that our CAPC will share shortly. However, I wanted to highlight our focus on live experience this year for our Child Abuse Prevention Council Conference on April 30th. One of our speakers lost her daughter when she was just a year old due to child abuse and domestic violence. Now, nearly 49 years later, she is going to share her experience, strength, and hope with our community. Community strength and empowerment are fostered through knowledge sharing and mutual support. And we are grateful for the speakers who have chosen to share such personal experiences with us. We look forward to gathering with community during this powerful event to promote healing and empowerment, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you, Nikki. Hi, welcome.
So my name is Amanda Alvarez, and I'm the Community Education Coordinator with Madera County Child Abuse Prevention Council. And I'm here to just share a little bit about the events that we have going on in April. So April is a month that holds great significance. Throughout this month, we host a series of events that highlight resilience, awareness, and support for our children and families. So on April 9th, we have the Colors of Resilience Ceremony and Expo, which is tomorrow. We kick off our events with the Color of Resilience ceremony at 4:30, which will be at the Courthouse Park. The ceremony will be a powerful celebration of strength, courage, and perseverance. And then we will have the Colors of Resilience Art Expo night at 5:30 following that, right down the street at Madera County Arts Council Circle Gallery, where we will be promoting the local youth artists and showcasing all of their work that they captured in the spirit of resilience through their artwork. And all of that artwork will also be available for purchasing, and those funds will go back to the students as well. On April 17th, we have the Child Abuse Prevention Community Resource Fair at 4:30, and we invite everyone to come out to the Courthouse Park. This event is essential for the community to raise awareness, connect families with resources, and support the ongoing efforts to protect our children, and that will start at 4:30. And the first 100 people that show up will get free food, free drinks, free snacks. Then the April 25th, we do have our flag raising ceremony. That will be at 9 a.m. at the Juvenile Services Division building for a flag raising. The event will symbolize our collective commitment to the values of justice, hope, and support for our youth. And we will also have the juvenile cadets coming out and performing their ceremony part. And on April 30th, we do have our Child Abuse Prevention Council Conference. Will be at 9 a.m. Will also be hosted at the Juvenile Services Division Department. And the conference is still open for registration, and you can find the flyers for all of these events on our social media platforms. And you can find us under MC CAPC online or Madera County Child Abuse Prevention Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues wish to comment on this item? Do we have any public comment?
None online.
Okay, well, on behalf of the Madera County Board of Supervisors, we want to thank you, the Department of Social Services, and all of our partners, the Child Abuse Prevention Council. I see that we have victim services, members of the district attorney's office, the sheriff's department, all of the partners who collaborate to really work hard to provide a safe environment for our children. So on behalf of the board, we'd like to present you this proclamation. And if you can join us, any members of these coalitions, please come and join us for the photo. Okay, well, it's not quite 10:30 yet, so we will move on to item 6D.
Public Health Department, National Public Health Week and Champion Awards. Presentation of a proclamation declaring April 7th through April 13th, 2025 as National Public Health Week. Presentation of plaques recognizing winners of the 2025 Public Health Champion Awards.
Thank you. And with that,
morning.
we have Sarah BOS, who's our Director of Public Health, who will be presenting this item.
Good morning, Chair, Board of Supervisors. National Public Health Week comes around this time every year, and we are here to recognize the invaluable contributions of public health and to spotlight what matters most in building stronger, healthier communities. This year's theme, Protecting, Connecting, and Thriving, reminds us that public health is more than just programs and policies. It's about people and relationships and collective action. And it's about ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to live long and healthy lives. We're celebrating with educational and fun activities throughout the week. Today, people can tune in to Facebook for a special presentation from our emergency preparedness team, in which they're going to teach people how to be prepared and put together their go bag in case there's an emergency. We also have free classes that are being offered by the City of Madera this week and in coming weeks for families. There's toddler time, parent and kid classes for ages 2 to 5, as well as their parents. Whip It Up Wednesday cooking classes for grades 1 through 12, and karate classes for grades 1 through 4. That one sounds super fun. So people can contact the City Parks Department for more information about those classes. We also have, I want to highlight a one-stop shop health fair that's happening this Friday from 9 to noon on the corner of Yosemite and Lake, where we will be working with lots of partners to offer wellness checks, mental health services, and service referrals for various health services, including CalFresh. So we're very excited also today to be here, Dr. Paul and I, to present 5 Public Health Champion Awards. The first is to Renee Dupree. Renee, would you like to join me? Oh, come on in. It's correct on the plaque, Renee Brown. The local oral health program is pleased to nominate Renee Brown, registered dental hygienist in alternative practice, for her exceptional contributions to the oral health program. Renee is instrumental in the successful completion of kindergarten oral health assessments in both English and Spanish for children in Madera Unified School District preschools and Community Action Partnership Head Start programs for children in Madera, Chowchilla, Fairmead, Lavinia, Oakhurst, North Fork, and O'Neill's. This woman has been all over our county. The goal is to identify any potential oral health issues before they begin in school years, ensuring children start with kindergarten with healthy teeth and gums. Renee's dedication of service and collaboration ensured that 747 preschool children in the months of February and March this year, that's a lot, received essential oral health assessments, preparing them for a healthy start for kindergarten. Her tireless commitment to oral health and her ability to engage diverse communities made a significant and lasting impact to Madera County's children and families. And she's truly a strong example of how others can contribute to the health of their community. It's my honor to name Renee as a 2025 Public Health Champion. Congratulations.
I really didn't expect this, and I really appreciate the recognition. I feel very blessed, and I feel very honored. And I really like to put a lot of this on. I couldn't do my work without the support of my team with the oral health department, the oral department at the Madera Health Department. And so all I'd like to say is we all know how important it is for us to begin our life with healthy teeth and to be able to keep them. Let's educate. The younger we can educate them, and the children and the families, the healthier and the longer that they can keep their teeth. And we all know that oral health is the gateway to the rest of the body. So if we can keep these healthy, our children are thriving and they're learning, and their education is superior. They are able to be able to learn at a faster rate. And when we can keep our teeth healthy, it really provides a positive personality. So they're able to smile. Sorry, I'm very So I would like to thank, without Madera, I wouldn't be able to do this. So let's hope in the next year we will be able to see twice as many children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Jacinta Bento. Jacinta focuses on child welfare and educational services with Chowchilla Elementary School District. Jacinta exemplifies a deep commitment in her community through her dedicated efforts to foster strong relationships with both families and students, building a foundation of trust and support. Jacinta is also a passionate advocate for vaccines and health screenings, believing that expanding access to these vital services is key to improving overall health outcomes. This year, Jacinta partnered with our mobile health team and leveraged her longstanding relationships in the community to rally the community around our healthy one-stop shop events held every 6 months in the community of Fairmead. Jacinta has significantly expanded the reach of our mobile health team in Fairmead and helped us bring together over 20 partner organizations to provide direct health services and resources to the community. So far, we've held 3 events this year and served 290 community members, and we applaud Jacinta for her vision, building connected, resilient, and thriving communities. And it's my honor to name Jacinta as a 2025 Public Health Champion.
Good morning, everyone. And just so everyone knows, public speaking is not my strength. I want to dedicate this to my family, my girls, my parents. They left the Azores Islands when I was 12 years old. And as immigrants, I always wanted to honor their sacrifice to come to this country and give us a better life. With that being said, being a voice for children, helping the families, helping the children is what truly fulfills my bucket, my heart, right? But I couldn't have done that with the team that I work with. They not only have been mentors, they have been, Chowchilla Elementary Unified has been a great place to work. I've been employed with them for over 10 years, and the great mentors that I work with help me be a better person. And my dream is continue doing what I do and try to reach those who don't have a voice, bringing children to school, give children a safe place to be, give children the necessities that they deserve, because I believe that every child deserves the best when they come to this world, and a lot of them don't have a voice. I also want to thank my family and my girls who put up with my crazy schedule and my crazy stress sometimes, because that's how I get to do this job. But I don't think I would have it any other way, and I hope to, be a mentor for them to always follow their dreams. But most of all, it's all about treating others as you want to be treated. And I think if you just open your heart every day and know that a lot of people are fighting fights that we don't know, and a lot of them, it's these families in my community in Chowchilla and Madera all over the world that they don't have a voice, they don't feel strong enough to speak, and we want children and their parents and families to
know that somebody's there for them. And I appreciate their health department for partnering with me and for everything that they do, which is much more than I ever will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Simon Paul, Public Health Officer, and it's a real pleasure to get to join in with honoring our departmental Health Champion Award winners. First up, we have Laura Berra, and Laura was nominated for the 2025 Public Health Champion Award because of her outstanding dedication to public health and the community she serves. Laura has years of experience starting out in WIC and later transitioning to the Communicable Disease Division, where she is now a key member of the HIV/AIDS program. This program comes with immense emotional challenges, and Laura handles these with compassion, providing support to both clients and colleagues. She serves as a mentor to her colleagues, guiding them through tough situations, and always offering her help and expertise. Laura is particularly committed to supporting our LGBTQ community, and many, many clients have expressed their gratitude for her care. Her work has saved lives, providing hope and preventing suicides among some of our most vulnerable clients. Laura is always willing to learn and grow, asking questions when uncertain, which further shows her commitment. Truly deserves the recognition as a 2025 Public Health Champion for her dedication, compassion, and impact in public health. It's a real honor to get the award.
Good morning. Thank you for this award. Thank you, Dr. Paul, for that introduction. Public speaking, like the person previous to me, is really hard. The only thing I want to say is on the 20 plus years that I've been working for the health department, it's been an honor. It's a career that allowed me to raise my kids in town. I didn't have to travel far. And for that reason, I stayed. I love doing what I do, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a community that helps me raise my kids and be there for them when they needed to. So I wouldn't change it for anything. Thank you.
Next up, we have Elsa Estrada. Come up. Elsa is the supervising public health nurse for Children's Medical Services. She oversees 9 nursing staff within the CMS division, which includes California Children's Services, Childhood Lead Poison Prevention Program, Adult Protective Services, and Foster Care Program. She's also a faculty member of California State University, Fresno, teaching community health nursing for the Fresno State Nursing Program. For many years, Madera County Department of Public Health has collaborated with Fresno State to provide nursing students both practical and hands-on experience in public health. Elsa's direct connection with teaching the nursing students has been key in growing the future of public health nursing, not only for Madera County Department of Public Health, but also for the entire Central Valley. Key in her teachings is the social determinants of health and their impact of childhood trauma. Elsa also teaches the historical perspective of health and has her students engage in the real world of community health by taking them into the community and have them work with outreach and community programs. Her passion for teaching, educating, and training crosses over in all she does for the department. The quote from Lori, a colleague, states, "Elsa never stops thinking about how we, as both a division and a department, can deliver services better. She continuously thinks about what is missing from our programs and what we can improve on. She's passionate about all she does and brings her passion for public health nursing to the health department daily. Because of these reasons and Elsa's true public health nursing heart, she exemplifies what a public health champion demonstrates." An honor to get to offer you the award. Give you the award.
Thank you very much for this. I think that the only thing that I can say is that I came here 16 years ago to take a class at the public health department, and I fell in love with public health and with the community, and that's what I stay. I promise to work with the same enthusiasm until the day that I retire from Madera County. I'm not going anywhere. And I also think that I have to say thank you to my team. I have an amazing team of nurses working every day. And I am here right now, but I'm also representing each one of them because I think that each one of them also deserves something like this. I'm also very proud to say that I have to say thank you to my husband, to his support every day when I'm working late, when I was working weekends, and when I'm still working when I arrive at home. And also, I will never be able to do this without the support of my boss, the nursing director, Melody Keller, who is more than a boss to me. She has been a support during stressful times. Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Beverly Borjas. If you could come up, Beverly Borjas works as a public health education assistant in the Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health Division. Although Beverly started her public health career working in childhood health and disability and HIV programs, the bulk of her 30-plus years with the department has been serving and supporting the needs of parenting youth in the Adolescent Family Life Program. As a case manager, Beverly provides support and education to young parents to promote positive parenting, identify youth needs and interests, and offer support with accessing services, setting goals, and planning for the future. Beverly was a teen mom herself and knows the struggles and obstacles afforded young parents. She has worked tirelessly through her public health career to simply give back. A quote from a fellow colleague, "I have known Beverly for over 25 years, and over the years, I've had the great pleasure to work alongside Beverly on various cases, while observe her in action. It is amazing. I have watched her educate young moms and dads and patiently give them the tools they need to not only build bonds with their children, but also to develop their strengths and skills to help them navigate life's challenges. Beverly has truly inspired me to become a better case manager and a person. She's a role model for me." Another colleague stated, "Beverly is compassionate, truly dedicated case manager who goes above and beyond to help families that she visits to find resources in the community and advocate for their needs. I know she has made a significant difference in the lives of countless young mothers." So again, it's a true honor to get to be here to present you with the award.
Thank you. Thank you, Madera County. Thank you. I have been very honored to receive this award. I feel that teens, they are resilient. And if you have one person there that believes in them, they can achieve so much in life. For this, I thank all of my colleagues, all of my case coworkers, as well as case managers. They all do an amazing job. I'm just part of that small picture that makes us all complete. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy National Public Health Week.
So in addition to the recipients who received the Public Champion Awards, we also have a proclamation on behalf of the board that celebrates April 7th through the 13th as National Public Health Week here in Madera County. We want to thank the team. It takes a team to make all of these great things happen. It's always fun to listen to the stories behind every recipient because you get just a glimpse of everything that's happening within the department. So we really appreciate all the hard work. Sarah, Dr. Paul, thank you for leading the team. And we'd like to present this proclamation to you guys. But before I do that, do we have any comments from the board? And do we have any comments from the public?
None online.
Okay, so we will present this. And if each of the award recipients could come up, we'd love to take a photo with you.
Yeah.
Over here singing.
We'll get it down by. Okay. It is 10:46. We will move into our public hearings. Where are we? Item 7A, please.
Community and Economic Development Department Planning Division, hearing to consider an application of Marguerite Inc. for a letter of public convenience and necessity to obtain a Type 48 on-sale general public premise license to allow the sale of beer, wine, distilled spirits at a cocktail lounge. The property is owned by Lacoste Carlson Property or Prop LLC and is located at the northeast corner of Highway 41 and Hartwell Road, 40713 Highway 41, number 7, Oakhurst, parcel number APN 065-050-076, and is zoned commercial rural median district.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and members of the board. Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development, and with me is Jacob Aragon, a planner from my office. I have a very brief presentation to go through the particular location that has requested the ABC license. So as mentioned, it is a letter of convenience and necessity. The parcel is located in Oakhurst on Highway 41 in Hartwell Road. This is the Type 48 license, which would allow for on-site consumption. The general plan is designated as community commercial, as well as the Oakhurst area plan. Both of those are consistent. The zone district is community rural median, which does allow for retail sales and customer service establishments such as this one. We do have to look at the census tracts and the different licenses within the census tract. This is the census tract as a whole, which extends pretty far north and south along the 41 corridor. These are the licenses spread throughout that particular census tract within 2 miles. And then the next slide will actually show a more close-up version. You can see the majority of the sites are down towards the 41-49 intersection. Again, this is a Type 48 license request for on-site consumption. We do have to take it forward to your board due to the requirements of ABC, and we're available for any questions you might have.
Thank you, Jamie. Because this is a public hearing, I will open the public hearing and I will open it for public comment. Do any of my
None
colleagues
online.
have any comments?
Yeah, Jamie, just a couple questions. Thank you, Chair. Are all these licenses current? I'm seeing one off 426 that looks to be off Highview Drive, which is kind of where our behavioral health offices is. So I'm just wondering, are they all current? Have we looked at that?
They are current because they're tracked through our processing, through our POSSE program in recent applications that we have received. As you can see, they're not exact. So it may not be on that specific parcel. It may be on one next door. But for the most part, that corridor has the same zoning as the zoning going north on 41.
Okay. And did we receive any protest letters from the public?
No, we did not. No comments were received from the public.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I see we have no additional public comment. I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for action.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will move back to item 6E.
Sheriff's Coroner's Office presentation recognizing the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation for the support of the Sheriff's Office.
Great. And for this item, I'm going to hand it off to our vice chair to make a few opening comments prior to the sheriff.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, very happy to be presenting this proclamation of the Sheriff's Foundation today. I think in the board item, it says that, the Sheriff's Foundation supports the Sheriff's Office. I think that's simply not true. It supports Madera County on a number of different functions. I know with a lot of organizations we're involved in, they just need a little extra support to kind of figuratively get over the hump. And I think for Madera County and for the Sheriff's Office, the Sheriff's Foundation is that little extra. So I just want to thank Amy Varney for all of her work. I don't think, our search and rescue operations, our K-9 unit would
be the same without all of your work. I think even just the other day, I received a email from our sheriff's office in regards to an illegal grow operation. And I know Sheriff's Foundation was very instrumental in the camera that went on that plane. So thank you for that as well. But with that, I guess we'll pass it over to the sheriff so he can make a couple remarks.
Morning, Chairwoman and Supervisor McCauley, board members. Thank you for that introduction. I'm your Sheriff Tyson Pogue, and I want to take a few minutes to recognize the incredible impact of the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation. This has had incredible impact on our operations, our people, and ultimately on the safety of Madera County. I'd like to invite up the president, Amy Varney, and the board, if they could stand up here with me. We are incredibly fortunate to live in a community where people don't just support law enforcement in spirit. They show up, they donate, and they volunteer, and they lead. Our foundation is only as strong as the people who support it. In Madera County, we're blessed with residents who believe in the mission of public safety. Their donations, whether it's large or small, they go directly into the tools, the training, and the programs that keep our deputies and our citizens safe. This is a community that doesn't just sit on the sidelines, they stand shoulder to shoulder with us. I want to especially recognize Jay and Amy Varney for their commitment to the foundation and to the public safety, which is unmatched. They've not only personally contributed to the foundation's success, they've inspired others in the community to do the same. That kind of leadership makes a difference. It moves people to act, and we see the results in that action every day in our agency. Mrs. Varney's passion and drive is undeniable, and without her, the foundation would have accomplished a fraction of what they have. So since its creation in 2016, the foundation's impact has been profound. They funded vital safety gear, like 70 of these ballistic shields for our patrol officers, our patrol deputies, stab vests, ballistic vests for our canine. They've backed cutting-edge forensic tools, including 3D crime scene imaging, forensic lasers, investments that directly enhance our investigative capabilities. They've poured resources in our canine program, supporting everything from canine training, trauma kits, to actually purchasing the dogs. They've strengthened our SAW operations, our volunteer teams, and invested in air scrubbers, fire shelters, wellness retreats for our personnel. The foundation's commitment to youth and recruitment is clear, with over $25,000 to scholarships supporting the Explorer program and funding cadet training for academy equipment. And finally, I want to highlight their efforts to build a positive community outreach. Through the creation of our pop-up park and the support for events and volunteer groups, they help foster meaningful and lasting connections between our deputies and the public. And before I close, I just want to call attention to something we're extremely proud to show today. So parked right outside the building here after the conclusion of the meeting is our technical rope rescue vehicle. The contents of that vehicle, the rope systems, the harnesses, the helmets, the medical bags, the communication tools, 100% funded by the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation. So this piece of equipment is not just a showpiece, it's a mission critical asset that's used in high angle rescues, swift water operations, remote access emergencies. It's deployed when we need to get somewhere to someone who's in trouble fast, often in rugged, dangerous terrain. This equipment is used by our dedicated search and rescue volunteers and quite literally helps us save lives. It's another clear example how the foundation support turned action in the field and action that now protects our citizens and enhances our readiness. The Madera County Sheriff's Foundation makes it possible for us to do more for our staff, for our volunteers, and for the community we serve. And we're extremely grateful for their partnership, their generosity, and the example they set for what it means to support public safety. So thank you for honoring this amazing foundation and acknowledging their efforts. We're so grateful. And I'd like to turn it over to President Varney for a few minutes in case she wants to say a few words.
Good morning. Chairwoman, supervisors, staff, those in the gallery and online. My name is Amy Varney, and I'm the chairwoman of the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation. I am the wife of a law enforcement officer who has served in 4 different agencies in 3 different states. In 40 years of serving as a law enforcement family, we experienced that the city and county budgets would not always be able to provide all that we needed to safely serve. This condition was the driving force of then Sheriff Varney to collaborate with community members to start the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation in January 2016. For 9 years, hundreds of folks in Madera County and beyond have generously supported the mission of the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation to promote civic spirit and support of the Madera County Sheriff's Office teams and to enhance the ability of the teams to work even more safely and effectively. The Madera County Sheriff's Foundation relies on a volunteer team, and 95 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to support our 5 areas of focus. Scholarships for those attending college classes in the public safety pathway. K-9, supporting and sustaining our K-9 team. Training and community engagement, supporting our citizens on patrol, search and rescue, chaplains, and Explorer Post 104 with training, uniforms, and tools that will better equip them as they volunteer in Madera County. Equipment, providing tools that will enhance the ability of the teams to work more safely and effectively. I am very thankful and proud of the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation members, as well as the board, with their resolve to faithfully support our Madera County Sheriff's Office teams. Today, I'd like to introduce to you our Vice Chairman and Treasurer, Elma Ward. Secretary Yvette Gomez. Board Member and Scholarship Chair, Camille Ramirez. Board Member Dan Riley. And Board Member Nathan Alonso. Thank you for this opportunity to share about the Madera County Sheriff's Foundation. It is a joy to provide tools that will better enhance the safety of both our Madera County Sheriff's Office teams and community members through the implementation of the Emergency Operation Plan, because it's not if, but when an emergency happens. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else that would like to add anything? Any of my colleagues wish to make a comment? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And I believe Supervisor McCauley will present the proclamation, and the rest of us will hang back here so that we can get a good photo.
Might be missing the founder, Sheriff Varney, over here in the photo.
We are moving along. The next item, 6F.
Sheriff Corner's office, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution adopting the updated Madera County Operational Area Emergency Operations Plan, California Standardized Emergency Management System, and the National Incident Management System, authorizing its distribution to and used by the county departments, rescinding resolution number 2009-186.
Thank you very much. I understand this item is fairly lengthy, so I'm going to ask my colleagues to hold off on any questions because they may be answered throughout the presentation. So with that, I'll hand it over to Sheriff Pogue.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Members of the board, I just have a brief introduction of the item. As the Director of the Madera County Emergency Services, one of our key responsibilities is ensuring that we are ready and capable of responding to all types of emergencies or disasters, whether they're natural or man-made. So the Emergency Operations Plan, or EOP, as you'll hear it referred to, is the foundation of how we prepare for, respond, and recover from disaster events. This update strengthens our planning in critical areas like mass care, evacuations, emergency communications, and disaster recovery. The updated EOP reflects collaboration from county departments, community leaders, external partners, and it creates a more unified, realistic approach. For the first time, our EOP includes specialized annexes that detail how we'll manage situations like mass fatalities, donations, and evacuations. These are real-world needs that we've seen during recent fires and emergencies. This isn't just a compliance exercise. This plan enhances our ability to protect lives, manage the resources, and maintain continuity of government operations under stress. The plan's been reviewed and endorsed by all county department heads, and it positions us to face future emergencies with confidence and coordination. During a disaster, those department heads will help the county respond, mitigate, and recover. Today, each department head is going to briefly outline their role during a disaster. This was an opportunity for our departments to learn that we all play a role during disasters. Though the first responders often get a lot of credit for the heroic work they do, the work of each of those here today is what truly allows us to be fully capable of responding to those disasters and catastrophes. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Sergeant Wilder for the presentation.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Joseph Wilder from the Sheriff's Office. I am the sergeant assigned to the OES unit for the county. Different counties have different ways of doing it. Our county, it's in the Sheriff's Office. As you travel throughout the state, it can be in the fire department. It can be its own standing department, social services. But our county, it's in the Sheriff's Office. Many other counties are starting to make that move towards the Sheriff's Office as well in their counties. But I'm going to give you an overview of the Emergency Operations Plan, how it plays its part with the county operations. So an EOP pretty much guides the county through emergencies, preparing for them, responding to them, and recovering from them. All of those subjects are very key to a complete emergency operations plan. It provides the footprint for us to move forward. So there's a couple legal requirements to the county for us to do this. Government Code 8610 says you have to have a local disaster council, which is your board for county code. So if you do have a local disaster council, you're required to have an emergency operations plan. Those plans have to be reviewed by Cal OES. This plan has been reviewed and approved by Cal OES. Each year, the state has to review at least 10. So there's an ongoing cycle for reviewing every plan in the entire state. This year, a lot of the updates to the plan were requiring access and functional needs. A lot of those needs are coming up more and more in disasters, and there was a requirement in the last couple of years to address those inside of our EOP. Another large thing is the management systems that we use. There's the Standardized Emergency Management System, which is SEMS, that's the state requirement, and then the National Incident Management System, which is NIMS, and that's the federal requirement. Your board adopted 2 resolutions, one in 95 and one in 2006, adopting those. The resolution that's before you now would recommit the county to this. This is an issue that comes up with a lot of federal disaster grants, that when is the last time you made an adoption and a commitment? Normally what I get when I turn a 1995 resolution in is, that's it. That's the newest thing you have. So this will help us with that hurdle with FEMA and some of the other federal management authorities of, this is a newer commitment, here it is. So the comparisons between the old plan and the new plan. The old plan was well over 500 pages long. There was a lot of basic information that is required through training. So we really were able to skim this down and make it more user-friendly, where we could pull a certain plan off the shelf and begin using it. And it was much easier to get what they needed out of it and move forward. There were no supporting plans in the original 2010 version. There are now 6 supporting plans, and each one of those supporting plans dives into each subject matter much deeper than what the original plan did. A lot of instructional guides were removed that are now added as an annex where they can go in and dive into that subject matter if they needed. So the base emergency operations plan mimics all the other plans. A lot of the topics are the same as you move through the other plans. That was intentional where it's all structured the same. If you look in one plan, you're going to see the same thing, the same framework as you do in the emergency operations plan. So the emergency operations plan goes over introductory materials, plan development, training, how we provide maintenance to this plan, keep it ongoing, the situational awareness of what's going on in the communities, the organizational and assignment of responsibilities, which is very huge. A lot of counties don't have those assignments of this county department will take care of these items. So it was a big step for us. The response, who's responding to what incidents, who has primary authority over the other ones. The concept of the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, how it functions during an emergency is covered in this. The continuity of governance. This was a big topic that we talked about during the creation of this plan with our consultant, was how we move forward as a government to continue to provide those services. And then recovery. Recovery is often overlooked of how do we get back to the normal state? How do we get there? And then the difference between the short-term and the long-term recovery. What are short-term fixes and what are the long-term fixes, and how the county will approach those. A lot of administration, finance, and logistics, and how those tasks are carried out at the county level. The tail end of the plan talks a lot about scope, plan development, things like that. There is a lot of attachments there as well. Plan concurrences, those are from all the department heads. A section of order of who's responsible when we can't get a hold of a certain department head, who can make those decisions. The other topic that was covered in there is disaster service workers, DSW. That program is again administered by the county, and that's a lot of the county workers who are DSW workers. So now we kind of dive into each individual annex of the plan. Like I said, that framework is still there, but the communication plans covers a lot of how we talk to the community in emergency. How do we deal with each other in emergencies? That snapshot of what's going on in the community, what are the alerting tools that are available to us, and how we operate within those structures. The evacuation and transport plan, this is a lot of where the sheriff's office's primary responsibilities live. This is that alerting, letting them know what's going on, and conducting those evacuations safely, the evacuation routes, facilities, where are we putting these people, where are we sending these people to. A lot of that information is covered in this evacuation and transport plan. Mass care and shelter plan, this is a huge step for us. We have never had a plan like this, so it definitely leveraged across many of the different county departments, getting everybody on board and moving in the same direction. There was a miss of unity of effort in the past, and we're really trying to focus on the unity of effort of everybody trying to take care of our citizens. Our mass fatality management plan, this is another new addition that we've never had before. This talks about how we deal with mass fatality incidents, how we respond to them, how do we deal with them, what mutual aid programs are in effect that we can leverage. And this is a new part that we're leveraging and bringing in behavioral health with that family reunification center and things of that to take care of the mental health of those affected as well. Our donation management plan, this was one that was pretty important to me. I went up to a fire a couple years ago on a mutual aid, and I went to a community park and saw a community park that was turned into a donations facility, and everything was there. Mattresses, all sorts of things, and they had no way of accepting that stuff. And then what ended up, I was very curious with the story, and I went back and asked them. Most of that stuff had to be taken to the dump because there was just no use for it. So the donation management plan really addresses how we accept donations as a county entity, how that process works, where we push people to provide assistance for survivors and things like that. So that's where a lot of this information is detailed out in this plan. And then our recovery plan. This has been a huge thing since 2023 and the flood damage that we did incur. A lot of the identifying hazards, how we move forward with long-term and short-term recovery, the debris management, how do we deal with all these things, and who are responsible for those things. So it was a big step to have that plan and we have a direction what we can start following. So I'm going to turn it over to the county departments at this point. We'll be going in alphabetical order, and I'm going to turn it over to the Ag Commissioner.
Good morning, Chairwoman, members of the board. Rusty Landsberger, Madera County Ag Commissioner. Real briefly here, we'll just move to the slide. So in 2021, Assembly Bill 1103 established an Ag Pass program. So in coordination with the Sheriff's Office and CAL FIRE, we reached out to our livestock producers that are in our foothills that deal with a lot of fires, but any kind of catastrophic event. And so what we did is we pre-screened them. We know who they are. We know where their grazing allotments are. And the event of a fire, anything else, if the sheriff allows access, they're pre-screened, they can go to those checkpoints, get access to go in, care for their livestock, feed, water, veterinary, or to transport them out behind the fire lines. So that's kind of what this chart shows. It's just kind of the flow. So in the event of that, they would reach out to either my office or sheriff's dispatch. We would make sure if the area is open or they can have access, and we would do that. So on a yearly basis, we meet with our producers. It's 50 head of livestock or more. We meet with them. They go through a fire training, and then also any updates to their grazing allotments. And then we keep that on record in the event of an event. From that, any other, if there was large scale animal evacuations, then we would assist animal control with that.
We are standing up here in alphabetical order, and S now comes before N. First off, I just want to thank the board and the Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services for putting this together. It's one of those things, as an assessor, you're like, what is our part in so it's really giving the departments that critical thinking to think, what is my part in case of an emergency? So thank you for putting that together. As I've always heard Supervisor Rogers say, failure to prepare is preparing to fail. So he says it much more eloquently. But so with the assessor's office, as the keeper of a lot of data, as well as the maintenance of the GIS parcel fabric layer, we would have our GIS staff there to help with any mapping of where the affected areas are. Our assessor records can also help show where the structures are and where they're located, and any owner occupied. So you can see if there's going to be a probability if someone's going to be there that staff or that sheriff department, fire department need to get out. We can also identify any livestock operations and to help with it, like as the Ag Commissioner was just talking about, getting those livestock out. So a lot of that data just comes from our office, and we'd be there to help get that information during the emergency. Now, after the event, our appraisers could help assist in surveying the damaged areas. We also have our GIS staff to show the mapping of where that's at. And your board just a few weeks ago approved our aerial imagery. So right now we'll have like a baseline of what the county looks like, and then we can do another flyover after an event like that and be able to see what's gone, what's still there, what the affected areas look like. So thank you for putting that in a few weeks ago. We would also be proactive. The last thing that people, when they're dealing with an emergency, that they're thinking about is, I got to get that form into the assessor's office so that I can lower my taxes. But they also don't want to be paying taxes on something that's not there anymore. So with that aerial imagery, with our GIS and the surveying of our appraisers, we'd be able to take that off. And then when they get settled where they're at, we can worry about the paperwork later. But we just want to make sure that our citizens are being thought of during these times, and that they don't have to think of everything because they've got a lot else to worry about. Also, we have the records for mailing addresses if we're trying to get in touch with people after the fact, any phone numbers that we do have from the P Corps if they're on there. But we have that information, so we can help provide that information to the
to the emergency responders. So again, thank you. And as always, the assessor's office is here to help in any case.
Thank you.
Hello, Amy Stoller with Animal Services, and I have with me Naomi Tobias. She's with our Central California disaster team. So with Animal Services, we are to ensure the safety and efficient evacuation and transport of animals during any emergency. Upon declaration of the emergency or evacuation, Animal Services will be deployed. We'll be assisting the evacuation and transport of animals. We'll be coordinating with emergency management and first responders for safely capture and transport animals from affected properties. We'll also maintain detailed records, that is of the addresses and locations where we're taking the animals from, the descriptions of the animals themselves, and where they're going to be going for shelter evacuation sites. We have support deployment, which is the Central California Animal Disaster Team. They'll be mobilized and to assist. We will work with coordination with them as well and the County Sheriff's Department for these transports. We'll be doing animal evacuation logistics, transport and shelter setup, and on-site support of disaster zones. For communication updates, we'll be doing regular updates. Will be shared between Animal Services, the disaster team, the Sheriff's Office, and emergency operations, as well as pet owners. If we have their information, that way we can communicate with them, tell them the updates on their pets, on their livestock, their conditions, and where they're located.
Just for the people who don't know who our organization is, I think Supervisor McCauley probably is the only one that knows. We are a 501c3, and we are considered a community animal response team. We have been providing disaster-related services regarding the animal component in Madera County since 2014, starting with the Junction Fire. We work very specifically with animal services. We don't self-deploy. We help with evacuations, but primarily emergency animal sheltering for small companion animals and large animals in the eastern part of Madera County. So that's who we are.
Good morning. The Auditor Controller's Office will simply take whatever steps necessary to get resources into the hands of the first responders, all employees, vendors, contractors that are working the front lines in emergency situations. So we'll prepare to disperse all checks needed to keep the wheels turning, basically. That's it.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm Elfigo Franco. I'm here representing the Department of Behavioral Health Services, or BHS. Our primary roles will be to provide immediate mental health support to affected individuals and communities. It'll include crisis counseling, stress management strategies, and any kind of referrals to specialized services that may be needed. And our disaster preparedness, our staff is trained to provide mental health interventions. We maintain a readily available pool of mental health professionals that understand the unique needs of our diverse communities. And we provide community outreach and education to help awareness the psychological impacts of any kind of disasters that may occur. And our roles and responsibilities, I'm not going to read them to you guys each word for word, but they include providing immediate mental health services. We could deploy mobile teams out to the communities. We also want to collaborate and work closely with other emergency response teams. And we want to identify high-risk individuals and provide post-disaster recovery support as well.
Thank you.
Good morning, members of the board. Dexter Moore, Environmental Health. Environmental health plays an important role in disaster response by protecting public health and the environment. Our division responds to hazardous material incidents by providing technical support and overseeing safe cleanup efforts. We also assist in wildfire debris management and support residents in maintaining safe drinking water and septic systems during and after natural disasters. Thank you.
Good morning again, Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development. So I'm going to cover the building and fire safety and code enforcement aspect. Similar to what Dexter had mentioned, it's basically doing a damage assessment, determining which structures can be accessed, whether or not we need to be posting unsafe properties, and helping post emergency in getting those structures permitted as needed and working with property owners to get them back into their homes and properties.
Good morning, Chair, Board. Steven Serrano, Elections Manager, on behalf of Ms. Martinez. The Clerk Recorder and Elections Division provide essential services, including property recordings, vital records, and elections operations that must continue during local emergencies, as required by law. All staff are designated emergency disaster workers and may be reassigned to support emergency operations, with services resuming as soon as safely possible through remote access, alternate locations, or the mobile vote center. The department is well prepared to maintain continuity, drawn on the experience from the 1998 fire to set up operations remotely within 24 business hours and utilizing digitized records, secure networks, and a fully stocked go bag for operation essentials. Services such as issuing vital records, fictitious business name filings, and official ballot tabulation will continue, with public communication and legal compliance prioritized throughout. Thank you.
Good morning, Sally Moreno, your district attorney. Much like the auditor, what we do is pretty boring. We just keep doing the same thing. We do appreciate the opportunity that the Sheriff's Department gave us to consider, what do we do if we lose internet? What do we do if we lose electricity? How do we continue to do those things? So we are prepared to make sure that we can continue to enforce consequences. We might anticipate an increase in the looting types of crimes. And so we're prepared to prosecute those and again, notify the public that we are successfully continuing to prosecute those in the interest of deterring those crimes. Also, our workers are available for the emergency worker program.
Thank you.
Good morning, Andrew Overbay, CAL FIRE, Madera County Fire Department. As an all-hazard response, as an all-risk department, CAL FIRE Madera County responds to thousands of calls ranging from fires, EMS, hazardous materials incidents, and to everything in between. As emergency management, we're built upon a total force concept where no matter the role each department plays, we work together to mitigate the emergency at hand. We work well in the ICS using 4 phases: mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. As far as incident command response, we're often asked to assist or take the lead in major disasters. Our local team has provided leadership on multiple incidents, such as the devastating fires in Maui and the recent Palisades fire. Cooperation is key, as you can see by the representation in this presentation. No matter the major disaster is no major disaster is mitigated by any one agency alone. Through contracts, agreements, we as CAL FIRE will fill the needs of the going emergency, whether as a participant, incident command, or working together in unified command. Thank you.
Good morning, Shanika Dixon, Director of Human Resources. A few key areas of responsibility for the HR department include, of course, benefits and payroll, managing all of our employees' information, recruitment, employee leaves, labor relations, as well as classification and compensation. So in addition to these key areas, in the event of emergency, HR will play a key role in managing communications, ensuring that employee safety and well-being, while supporting county continuity of all operations. In addition, we would take the lead in managing staffing needs, including the organization and assigning of personnel to support the county's need to operate effectively, while working with risk management to ensure that there's safety all the way around for county employees, all departments, and the public. In addition, in the event of an emergency, HR remains committed to legal compliance and carrying out all of the county policies and procedures and MOUs and staying compliant with all of that. ensuring seamless continuance of all benefits and services that are afforded to all of our county employees, all the departments, and the public as well. Security of employees' information, since we sort of are the gatekeepers of all of that information, and documentation of all assignments, as well as providing the data necessary in the event there are reimbursements that are due to the county. Thank you.
Good morning, Tanya Say, Chief Information Officer. The information technology would be responsible for communication systems maintenance, monitoring and troubleshooting any issues with the network, critical communication networks, implementing backup communication systems if any primary are down, and coordinating with our internet service providers and our telecommunication providers to address any network disruptions. The Information Technology Department will also be responsible for ensuring that there's access to critical data for any public safety emergency responders, backing up and protecting any critical data, and also providing any data sharing capabilities between any responding departments. We'll also be working and assisting critical personnel with technical issues related to any communication devices, software applications, ensuring things like GIS are available. And the animal services had mentioned some of their dependencies on their systems, making sure that the critical systems are available. One of the key aspects of this is that critical should be defined prior to that. And so for information technology to be able to deliver on services during an emergency, it's really understanding what the critical systems really are. And that would be very nice for us to have that list available ahead of time so that we know where to first assign resources. Thank you.
Morning. Sorry, Krista Riggs, Library Director. I'm getting over something. I apologize. Going along with the whole community approach of the plan, our libraries all serve as community resource hubs, and we're happy to assist with plan distribution and getting the information out to the public access to information. All 5 of our locations also have digital signs and bulletin boards that can be used to share information about the plan itself and also in an emergency, getting the word out to the community. We're all welcoming public spaces. We have meeting rooms available for town halls, community meetings, supply distribution, and with the proper support, we could even be evacuation spaces in the instance of an emergency. And then, of course, our public services, we have free public internet access at all of our libraries. We also have hotspots and laptops available for circulation. And we're always happy to partner on programming and outreach efforts such as emergency preparedness informational sessions. Thank you.
Good morning, Gloria Garcia from Probation. The Probation Department serves as a legislatively established support system for the criminal, juvenile, and family courts. Its core responsibilities include the detention and supervision of youth in secure facilities, with a primary focus on ensuring the safety of youth, staff, and the public. Excuse me. The department also provides critical support to other law enforcement agencies and participates in emergency mutual aid efforts. These efforts encompass a range of services such as transportation, evacuation assistance, and auxiliary support to all county agencies during response and recovery operations. That would also include release and relocation of detained youth in case of emergency requiring evacuation, and we could also assist our neighboring agencies, which is the Sheriff's Department Jail Division, and any transportation that was required. Thank you.
Hi, Amalia Hernandez, Assistant Public Health Director. And so today I'm sharing a couple of the functions that we take part in the EOP. We serve as a mental health operational area coordinator, which sources and coordinates medical and health resources through mutual aid, whether that be sharing, deploying, or asking for staffing, such as our nurses. Epidemiology, so it's the data monitoring for any changes in disease patterns or emergency health risk. If you remember during COVID, we were the ones that were responsible for the dashboards and ensuring that we were keeping our community informed with our COVID response. Data control, disease control and prevention during outbreaks. So we are really part of testing and mass vaccination, public information and communication, providing warning updates and emergency information to address public concerns and fears. This includes monitoring public health and misinformation, as well as which are the best methods to have meaningful impact in communication. We also have various plans to serve our residents who have unique access and functional needs, such as our older adults who may have higher medical needs, such as medical equipment or prescriptions, those with disabilities and needs for special transportation. And lastly, you've been hearing from us in the previous meetings about our community resilience work group. And so we work closely with the partners that have been presenting today to identify how we can best serve our residents during an emergency and during recovery.
Good morning, Dominic Tyberski, Public Works Director. Public Works is divided into 4 distinct divisions. Throughout those divisions, we provide a number of services for emergency response. The traffic management response, we deploy barricades and signage to close unsafe roads and establish safe detours. Flood and/or snow response, we clear storm drains, culverts, pump flooded areas, placing flood barriers such as sandbags. We provide equipment such as mobilizing generators, heavy equipment, including snow plows, pumps, and fuel trucks to critical locations. And our transit is prepared to assist with emergency evacuations if needed, or when needed, I should say. Staff labor works to coordinate with the EOC, conducting rapid assessments of bridges, culverts, and other critical infrastructure for structural damage, respond to sewer and water failures, setting up temporary water distribution when necessary. And I'd also like to point out the First Responder Public Works badge, which was developed to highlight Public Works' role in emergency response. Typically, people think of fire, sheriff, and medical response, rightfully so. But additionally, Public Works is typically first in and last out. Once the disaster is sort of, past critical point, Public Works is left to clean up, what's remaining and work on the repairs of the roads and bridges, and many times we're there years later. So just wanted to point that out. So thank you.
Good morning, Deborah Martinez, your Social Services Director and Public Guardian. So we're here to discuss our emergency management organization in terms of our department. And let's see if I can move it forward. Maybe it's this one. Anybody know? Which one, ma'am? Oh, that one's working better? You guys are doing this on purpose to keep me up here because you know how much I don't like this. Oh, wait. So was it this one? Well, there's several, but we'll try it. Okay. Right here. Yep. I did. Regina, did you see? At any rate, again, I'm still here. Okay, so DSS, we are the lead in terms of the emergency function of care and shelter. We need to make sure that our representatives are working very closely with all of the EOC partners to make sure that we're available. We are virtually the largest department. So in terms of care and shelter, we provide a lot of the resources for EOC should an emergency come up, but it's generally regarding all care and shelter items. So we make sure that these folks are trained, and those regulations are pretty tough to read. So we do have a labor management system or a learning management system that tracks our response to make sure that everybody is trained and they know the latest information in regards to what our function is. We're also, so besides making sure that it's developed and make sure that it's regularly reviewed and that we're working cooperatively with EOC, we also have our general work that actually gets exacerbated during any kind of an emergency. We have plans to address situations for our adult protective services, our child welfare, our in-home supportive services, our public guardian, self-sufficiency, CalWORKS, and CalFresh and Medi-Cal. So what does that mean? It means for adult protective services, regardless of where the emergency is, we know where we've had contact with adults that are vulnerable. So we see that there is a zip code. We check to see what referrals we've had with adult protective services in that area, and we check in on them, whether or not we have a current referral or not. We know who they are. We want to try to help. In child welfare, it doesn't necessarily need to be in Madera County. It could be Riverside County. It could be LA. If we have a child placed outside of the county, and oftentimes they are, sometimes because we can't find a local placement, and sometimes because that's where family is. So of our about 270 kiddos in a change of an emergency, it could be in Madera County that we're responding, or it could be outside of that, and we're making sure that our child is safe. In-home supportive services, those folks have vulnerabilities. They have IHSS because they have some sort of a medical condition. We make sure that they have the equipment and the service providers necessary to keep them safe. Public guardian is the same in terms of our conservatees, making sure that the facility is safe and that our folks don't need to be moved. And in self-sufficiency, our CalWORKS, CalFresh, and also our Medi-Cal, that is situational for those folks who lose their benefits, have EBT cards that are destroyed or paperwork that is destroyed, and we make sure that they have what they need in order to be able to continue to receive their benefits. So that just all the slides after that really just say what I said in 15 seconds. So the last slide will provide all the information in terms of how do you contact us in case of an emergency to make sure that we do what we say we're supposed to be getting done. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Jacqueline Torres Herrera, your Assistant Treasurer Tax Collector. And the emergency operations plan for the Treasurer Tax Collector is to ensure the county keeps on operating during all of this that's going on. So we want to make sure that we have our critical banking and investment functions during these emergencies fully operational. And the primary job is to go ahead and protect the county funds, maintain operations, and comply with all the legal and operational requirements as needed. A few of the other things, we want to make sure that we are continuing to safeguard all funds on deposit with the treasurer, sustain the critical banking functions and investment and cash management functions, and then minimize disruptions to county departments, schools, and special districts, which, as we saw, a few of our special districts do need the funding sources. So other critical tasks include maintaining the bank reconciliations, maintaining deposit procedures, notifying departments of location changes to ensure deposits continue to flow through the Treasury guidelines, distribution of funds, execute wire transfers to make sure that we're funding payroll and other authorized electronic payments, and emergency service support to guarantee timely employee payroll funding to sustain emergency response efforts. Part of that is all staff within the Treasurer Tax Collector is aware that per Madera County Ordinance 2.78, all staff with county IDs are disaster service workers in the event of call to do so. So they might be required to report somewhere else of the county's need. And thank you.
Stephanie Agneson, Water and Natural Resources. As you know, we manage 4 public agencies, 3 groundwater sustainability agencies, and a flood control agency. What we bring in times of emergency is technical expertise. During the Creek Fire, we served as the project manager to coordinate a study to help inform evacuation rates on burn severity and slope. During the last flood, we provided both equipment that we have staged and supplies. We also have relationships with the local landowners on flood control channels, as well as within the groundwater agencies. That concludes my slide. I think I'm last. Back away.
Joseph Wilder again. I'm here for any questions the board might have.
Okay, thank you all for the presentation. Do any of my colleagues have any questions, comments?
I have a couple
I
questions.
see a page full from
Page
Supervisor.
full. I don't know about
Morgan.
a page full. This is all thanks to Sergeant Wilder for all his work on this. I know it's been a lot of efforts from you personally, so thank you for that. And I do appreciate each department's engagement on this effort. I think it's incredibly important. I think, as we mentioned, it's not an if, but when disaster next strikes. So I want to be sure that we are all prepared. So I do have a couple of questions. I'm going to start with human resources. Shanika, I think in your presentation, you mentioned that, part of your job is to keep accurate records of employee assignments. And I can only assume that this has to do with reimbursements for FEMA
Yes.
and those sorts of activities. And so I just want to check in, how is that working with Madera County Office of Emergency Services? Are you able to collect the information from each department, subvented or not, and get that information to the sheriff's office so that way they can submit reimbursements to the state and the feds? Is that
Yes, because NeoGov allows us to track information. We would most likely have to program the assignments in NeoGov in order to provide that data to the sheriff's office.
okay? So we don't have those programmed just yet.
Well, we have NeoGov, but I would have to work with our specialists in our department to get that set up.
So you'd have to work with the sheriff's office and your specialists within the department to ensure that we're able to get all that information over to them.
We
when
would have it. We would just have to compile it.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And then we're going to go back alphabetical. So we'll start with the assessor's office. And I think, Brett, you're still here. Thank you, Brett. And I appreciate your comments in regards to, this activity. I know it's not everybody's favorite thing to come and do a presentation on their specific role, but I think it's important everybody gets engaged on this. So you mentioned that part of your job is to proactively assess the values of properties that have been affected by a disaster. So my question for you is, how are you receiving information around folks that have been affected? Do you get a list of affected property owners from the sheriff's office, or how are you proactively working to make sure that if my house burns down, that is going to be reassessed? I know your staff was really helpful in going out to community meetings when we had our last fire. I think it was the Fork Fire, and they made some direct contacts with folks. But I'm curious to know if there's anything you can do above and beyond that to proactively contact folks that have been affected.
So yeah, that's exactly what we do, kind of any and all of that. The community meetings, being up there, having a presence. I think it's good to have a face when you're dealing with that. But also, through the GIS layers and looking where the scar is, where the incident is going through, looking at that from the GIS data, taking it in, looking at what homes may have been affected, talking to them if we know. We also get the information from the sheriff's department of which structures are gone, and proactively doing that when it's safe, sending people up to survey and make sure that that it is gone. And then again, like I said, that aerial imagery is going to be very helpful in that proactivity, in that we can fly over another pass to see, without having to go and send somebody up to go and put them into possibly harm's way, is being able to see that that's actually gone, taking it off, sending the letters out to those people. A lot of times, if their mailing address is their home and the mailbox is gone, it's difficult to track them down, but continuing to find any forwarding addresses. And that's why we go to the meetings. If you're changing your address, let us know so that we can get you the proper information, the proper documentation that you need to make this permanent and taking it off. And then working with them when they do put the new structure back on, if they do.
Okay. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it.
Before he sits down, I just want to say it's refreshing to have an elected official like yourself who is proactive about the needs of the people before they approach you. People, like you said, I think the last thing people are thinking about during a disaster is, the last thing they want to think about is paying the taxes due on a home or that's gone. And they don't need something else on their plate. And I want to say that I think you've been outstanding in utilizing tools and new innovations that are available to you to improve your department and help service people, and especially in this regard. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we just want them to pay what they owe, not anymore. And again, when it's at that time, you don't want to get a tax bill for something that's down. It's like one more kick in the gut. So hopefully the supplemental comes in and it says it's gone, so they don't have to worry about that.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thanks again, Brett. Next question is for behavioral health services. So I think it was mentioned that, behavioral health services is going to play a pretty instrumental role in the recovery process, working with folks that, have experienced post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I know for a fact there's a lot of folks, that have been survivors of fires up in the eastern portion of the county that this, absolutely pertains to them. So my question is, how are we identifying those folks that have been affected by a disaster and are in need of services?
Well, our staff has been trained in cultural competency. So they're aware what communities actually are in Madera County. And we try to send our outreach teams as well out to the different communities so they can speak to them and get a little bit of better understanding of what these communities are like.
Okay. Are you able to get information from the sheriff's office or Red Cross about folks that have, or Department of Social Services that have checked into our shelters? Or are you able to get information from the sheriff's office around folks that have been evacuated and proactively, contact those folks in regards to offer services? And then follow-up question, thank you, Chrissy, is do we have a program in place, like an actual PTSD program in place for the county that, targets folks that have been, again, survivors of a disaster?
So, Chrissy Das, Director of Behavioral Health Services. Let me kind of back up. Can you ask the first question again?
Yeah, the first question is, how are we identifying people that are in need of services? Because, in my experience, very similar to what the assessor was saying, folks don't often know that there are services available. It's not always top of mind for them to be thinking about, hey, I can contact the county and they can help me through this difficult time that I'm having. So the question is twofold: is do we have an actual program in place for PTSD? And then follow up is, how are we identifying people that would be, suitable for that program?
So initial identification happens in the shelters oftentimes. So in my experience working with Red Cross, and when there's a shelter up and running, our staff will go in. The Red Cross staff typically will identify somebody in crisis who's unable to stabilize. Then what we do is we'll track that person after the incident. And I think oftentimes not everybody realizes that the greatest incident of mental health crises is a year after a disaster. That's when we see the highest spike in suicide, in crisis, and to your point about PTSD. So with regard to a specific PTSD program, no, but our staff are trained in trauma-informed practices. And so how to work with those who have been through disasters and how to kind of help them learn coping skills moving forward. In my experience, what I've seen over time is that some of the greatest things is preparation, is helping communities prepare for disaster. That helps to mitigate the trauma of the disaster. And the reason is because in a disaster, there's just this sense of loss of control of everything. Everything has come to an end for them in a lot of ways, and it's overwhelming to lose so many things. But when you prepare them ahead of time, like what would you do if a disaster hits? Where can you go? How can you get services? They tend to fare better. And that's kind of what all the research says. So we can look at a PTSD specific team. We could create a team just for disaster response, but keeping in mind that the time frame may be a year after the disaster versus the immediate disaster following.
I would say that I think marketing, branding, these things are helpful in creating that awareness. So if folks know that there is a program at the county, it is somewhere they may look in the future. So I would definitely encourage you to explore that. I know there's some nonprofits up in the eastern portion of the county that are interested in carrying some water around that kind of a program. So I would definitely encourage you to look to that, to support that, and see how the county can play a larger role in addressing those folks that have, had those issues in the past. So thank you. Next one is for Jamie with CED. And kind of similar to the last two questions is how are we proactively working with the community to identify those in needs, particularly those that have, had structure loss? Are we contacting them directly to help them through the process, the recovery process, to rebuild, reestablish a well, work through that process? How does that look? Again, are you receiving information from the sheriff's office to identify those folks? Are you contacting them directly, or are you waiting for them to outreach to you?
Thank you, Supervisor. Yes, in past emergencies, what our office has done is worked closely with the sheriff's office and other agencies to be in the community and available to answer those questions. So yes, we have the ability to reach out to those individual property owners. We work closely with the assessor's office to obtain that type of information. But past fires, specifically up in North Fork, my staff was regularly in the community and available to answer all of those questions, whether or not they need a new permit to rebuild their house, whether or not they can access their property and what those requirements are. We were out in the community and plan to be in the community in the event of another emergency like that. Perfect.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
And for my colleagues, I just got two more here, so I'm almost done. I do apologize. Going to IT, I think, Tanya, you mentioned that, you need to know what the critical systems and processes are. So are you working at this time with the departments to identify those processes? And if not, what do we need to do to get you that information?
Thank you for your question. That's an interesting point, and it's an interesting process. So by design, you have 30 departments, you have 30 different department heads, and all of us feel like what we do is the very most important thing to be done. So it's really hard to come into a room and have everybody identify what is the most critical to the county and what is not, and what goes first in an emergency and what comes up last in an emergency. It's very, very hard for departments to come together and come up with that list. So really, we need a list probably from the board, like what is the most critical systems? What do we bring up first? If it's, in talking with the CAO, obviously right now, without a list, we would bring up, if there was ever a question, we would bring up where we house individuals. We would bring up the juvenile hall, and we would bring up the jail. It's my understanding that 911 has a backup system that they can use in the meantime. If it's election day, surely we can't have elections go down. But what if the DA's in court that day and needs critical information that, that they need a video off of their HRS drive, because they're going to lose a trial if they don't. I don't know if there's another backup plan to be able to go to a judge and say, oh, well, our systems are down. I don't know. So yes, we are working with departments, but it's a very, very hard process. And we probably need, if money was available, it'd be great to have an outside consultant come in and work on that. But it's really bringing together all the various department heads and being able to identify what's the most important.
A lot of it's going to be what's the disaster and which county facilities are affected. And if you're having a fire up in the mountains, and certainly communications to everything up there is super important. So the microwave and things like that are going to be important to keep up, court may be less affected. If it's something that happens down here, Tanya's mentioned at least two that would be, if it was that season election or just a regular court week, it'd be super important to keep those up and running. But we'll review it some more and maybe just come up with some general categories, because it's almost like during the disaster, what's going on. And that may determine for you what the top 5 most critical things for that day are. If it's payday, the employees certainly are going to think payroll is the most important thing on that day, and we want to definitely keep them happy during a disaster because their lives are interrupted too. So Tanya and I will work on it and see if we can't come up with a way to prioritize in the moment.
Okay. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. And last question is for social services. Deborah, I was just hoping you might take a little bit more time to elaborate on casework, particularly, who are you working with in a disaster as far as, our community members, and how are they being managed? As in, I think behavioral health mentioned that, oftentimes when we're experiencing behavioral health PTSD issues, that can be up to a year afterwards. So when you're working with folks that have been affected by a disaster, is social services, as the folks that are supposed to be managing our shelters and our sheltering activities, are you continuing to follow up with those individuals, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months after a disaster? Is that something you guys are equipped to do? Is that something that you have thought about? Because to me, and I've said it before, I think we do a wonderful job preparing for a disaster and responding during a disaster. But I feel like as a county, our biggest opportunity for growth is really with the recovery after a disaster. And if I could, wave my magic wand, it would be the social services department that is doing that casework. But I understand we're not necessarily set up for that, to manage, 2,000 people that were affected by a disaster for 18 months. I understand that's not realistic expectation, but I'm hopeful that we can move in a direction where we're proactively identifying folks that have had a traumatic loss, and we're following up with them over an extended period of time to ensure that they do have those resources available, that we're making those referrals to the Community and Economic Development Department, to Behavioral Health Services, to the assessor's office, so that way folks get the services they need. So can you speak to that casework just a little bit more?
Sure. So, and I said it quite quickly, but the reality is our populations are very different. So if you're speaking of our children, obviously our children that are involved in child welfare services, it's not going to be just that moment. It's not just about the placement. It's regards to what happened with that family. What is the trauma? What is the concerns that that child felt without having this added issue coming into their lives in terms of an emergency or having to be moved. That's case management. We have social workers, we have clinicians, we have behavioral health involved, we have our nurses. There, in terms of our child welfare, that's a case management. That is something that we are technically funded to do. So obviously that's continuous, right? If we have our conservatees with a public guardian, everything that you're speaking of in terms of long-term impacts from anything they may be experiencing, including emergencies, is part of being a case manager. When I say that we address concerns and in contacting adult protective services, when I say that we contact IHSS clients to see how they're doing in regards to their medical equipment and such at the moment, and also that applies to our able-bodied, our age blind and disabled Medi-Cal clients. When we do those things, those are actually not something we're mandated to do or funded to do. It's simply, we know there's an emergency. We want to make sure they're safe because we know they have vulnerabilities. In terms of long-term, now all these populations, if they're being served already, have a reassessment process, right? And so you will learn if there has been a change in circumstances or if they're still struggling from something. We are a referral service. We get constant calls from everyone in regards to all kinds of different topics that have nothing to do with services that we provide. So we utilize our resource guide, which I actually relayed to some member of the board earlier this week, in terms of being able to see what is it that we use to be able to refer folks out when it's something that we don't provide, right? So we use that guide all the time. And I actually had a conversation with Stephanie Nathan yesterday in regards to some opportunities and things that I know she's working on to see how we're going to be able to do this. Because when we speak of that, you're really speaking about what is it? Are we 311? Are we 211? In a case of emergency, what is going to really be that nucleus that connects us all, right? Because there is a 211 in Fresno, there isn't a 211 in Madera because it doesn't function at the moment. And it's also because we have a 311 that does very more about public works and not a social services focused services. It's just not for that. That's not where our calls come from, social services. It doesn't go through 311. They come through us. We do need to have, I mean, to be honest, if you're asking my opinion, we got to work on how does the community contact us, because we have so many services and people do not understand what's the difference between one thing or another thing. And so I do think we have an issue in regards to that. I think we're really well prepared in terms of an emergency because we know each other. We see each other. We are very cooperative here. Every one of these department heads knows the other, and we will count on each other and we will be there for them, right? So I think we will do everything that we can. We can't know what we don't know. And the reason we don't know is those folks don't know how to reach us. So if it's happening, it's because they don't know how to reach us. And so that's why they will end up being a little bit lost. So we do have, I think, in my opinion, that's the only area that we really need to have is one consistent way that the community reaches out. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to know somebody in order to get the answer. They got to know what is the path, that no matter what, they're not going to get dropped off.
I appreciate that, but I think my point is more around how we can be proactive so they don't have to reach us. And I'm going to use an example from the 23 winter storms. We had a little lady out in Bass Lake, her roof collapsed. And, you know, she was displaced. She was no longer able to afford the funds to rebuild her house. Her assessment was not adjusted. She received a bill from the tax collectors saying she owed money for a property that was no longer actually valued at that cost. She had to move out of the county. And, you know, that's a major hardship for her. And so these are the kind of situations that I'm looking to avoid because, you know, little old lady didn't know who to contact, didn't know that there was an opportunity to have her property reassessed, didn't know that she was going to receive a bill from the tax collector, didn't know that there was assistance at community and economic development. And so I think what I'm getting at with my series of questions here is that the county needs to do better about proactively reaching out to people whose houses have collapsed or burned down or flooded, these types of instances, or been affected by a debris flow. You know, these are opportunities for improvement for us as a whole. And so I think that's where my series of questions is really getting at is we need to be more proactive in identifying those folks. And I understand we can't, again, you know, we can't go out and have casework on, you know, 2,000 people that have been affected, but we can look at those 30 individuals who've, you know, experienced a catastrophic loss, and we can proactively reach out to them and offer services rather than expect them to call 211 or 311 or their county supervisor or, you know, whomever. You know, that's where I think we need to be. So with that, that's no more questions for me. I appreciate everybody's time.
Alrighty. Thank you, Supervisor. Anyone else? Supervisor Wamhawk.
Yeah, this is for Sergeant Wilder. And it's not directed at anything internal within the county or department heads, but, and I know it's not in this plan, but partnering with third-party private companies like PG&E or cell phone providers, internet service providers, private propane companies, those types of things. Do we have those types of things in a plan somewhere as far as making sure that utilities are kept on and internet is kept on to the best?
So there's an ongoing conversation. I mean, during the storms, any type of storm that we have during the winter, we're reaching out to those partners. I speak with PG&E, their representative, at many times during those storms of like, what's the status, what's going on with this outage? Same thing with our local telephone companies. We're assessing those. We have contacts and we do reach out and make sure that we have that two-way communication of what's going on. When we do have instrumental outages or issues, we do reach out. MCH experienced a power outage this last week. We got notified by PG&E that there was an outage. We began the process of the call down. We reached out to public health. Do we have any patient impacts? Reaching out to PG&E, what is going on? What's the totality of the outage, and what's the outcome, or how long is it going to be until we have power restored? So we're having those internal conversations quite a bit.
But so I'm more directed at what is the plan when we cannot, when there are those extended outages? Do we have that in a plan somewhere?
It's kind of contained inside the EOP. It's the activation of the EOC. We activate the EOC either virtually or in person, and we start those conversations. We ask for a representative from each agency to come down and be able to play their part in what is going on and what is the view from their neck of the woods.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
And I would like to say that Brett Frazier is one of the best assessors that has ever assessed. I just wanted to throw that out there, so thank you.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yeah, I just, I recall a proverb about moving to the sound of one trumpet as an army. And if there's an uncertain sound, then nobody knows where to go. And I think it's really important to have a leader, and I believe that leader is the sheriff in that circumstance. And I want to know that every department is cooperating with the leader and following that lead. And I want to know that there is every force brought to bear from their standpoint to aid his leadership and to make sure that what he says is being followed, because at some point lives depend on that. And I want to know that that's actually happening. And if that wasn't happening, I hope there's a mechanism that would let us know that that's not happening.
It is happening. I mean, I feel bad for some of the county folks when they pick up their phone and they see it's me calling because they're like, oh no, something's wrong. So we do have that relationship. It is ongoing. I mean, during the summer, we're moving pretty quickly. So we get the response that we need. We pick up the phone, we get that action.
Okay. From my standpoint, if you ever don't get that cooperation, I would hope that you would bring it to our attention, and because we need to be able to deal with that if that's not happening. And people need to understand there is one leader in an emergency, and that leader is the sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? At this time, I will open it up for public comment.
None online.
And there is none online. I'll return to the board for action.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhoff.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sergeant Wilder. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, at this time, if it's okay with my colleagues, I'd like to power through some of these items and not break for lunch. I understand we have some sandwiches in the back maybe. So I'd like to go through items G through L and then resume back into closed session. We'll take the pending legislation and the rest of the items after lunch. Is that okay? Okay, I'm not seeing any head shaking. So item 6G.
Sheriff Coroner's Office, second reading to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 9.36 of Title 9 of the Madera County Code pertaining to fireworks.
Morning, Chairwoman and members of the board. This item returns for a second reading following your initial review and public discussion last week. As a reminder, this ordinance updates Chapter 9.36 of the County Code to address the growing public safety concerns tied to illegal fireworks use in Madera County. The revision brings clarity through updated definitions, restricts sales to local nonprofit organizations, enhances safety standards, and most critically, it allows us to hold property owners accountable for illegal fireworks used on their premises. These updates give us the enforcement tools we need to protect our communities, particularly high fire risk areas. Again, thank you for your time, continued support. I'm available to answer any questions or to go into more detail if you so desire.
Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll
Move to
close
approve.
public comment, bring it back.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, Sheriff. Item 6H.
Human Resources Department, Office Assistant 1 and 2, Merit System Services Classification Specifications. Discussion and consideration of approval to set the salary ranges for the Merit System Service Classification Specifications of Office Assistant 1 at range 2 on the represented salary table, $34,934.36 through $42,964.86 annually as recommended by the Civil Service Commission. Discussion and consideration of approval to set the salary ranges for Merit System Service Classification Specification of Office Assistant 2 at range 4 of the represented salary table, $38,515.14 through $47,368.76 annually as recommended by the Civil Service Commission.
Move to approve.
Anyone?
I'll second.
We have a first and do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
Seeing none, we have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, Sabrina. Item 6I.
Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval to set the salary range for the Merit System Service Classification Specifications for Staff Services Analyst 3 at range 18 on the represented salary table, $76,257.33 through $93,786.90 annually as recommended by the Civil Service Commission.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll close public comment. Call for the vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item
you.
6K. Oh, 6J.
6J, sorry.
I apologize.
Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval to set the salary range for Merit Systems Services Classification Specification of Supervising Staff Service Analysts at range 20 on the represented salary table, $84,073.71 through $103,406 annually as recommended by the Civil Service Commission.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
Not online.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item 6K.
Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval to ratify a memorandum of understanding between Madera County and the professional units for 1-year term from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll close public comment. Call for the vote.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
And 6L.
Human Resources Department, discussion and consideration of approval to ratify a memorandum of understanding between Madera County and the service units for a 1-year term from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll close public comment and call for the vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor McCully.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, I've failed to mention that we have some emergency equipment outside to underscore our county's readiness to respond. And so before we go back into closed session, I'd like to take about a 10-minute break so we can go out there, check it out, and go resume our closed session. Then we'll break for lunch and come back at 1:30 for the rest of the items. Okay. Thank you all very much. Are we on? Okay, thank you. County Council, do we have any reportable actions from closed session?
Madam Chair, there is no reportable action from your closed session.
Thank you. At this time, we will go into pending legislation, item 8A.
County Administration Department, discussion and consideration to approve a letter of support for Senate Bill 616. This pivotal legislation proposes the establishment of the Community Hardening Commission dedicated to enhancing the wildfire mitigation efforts across California.
Thank you, Chairwoman and members of the board. The clerk's description of the letter pretty much sums it all up. The main focus of this letter of support is to support the establishment of a community hardening commission dedicated to enhancing wildfire mitigation efforts across California. One of the side benefits of that, we believe, will be after the reductions in wildfire risk are realized, that should improve access to insurance for residents and businesses in the fire vulnerable areas.
Okay, do we have any questions or comments from the board? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
I'll bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras is absent. Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. Item 8B.
County Administration Department, discussion and consideration to approve a letter of support for Senate Bill 547. This critical legislation seeks to extend the existing protections against the cancellation and non-renewal of residential property insurance policies to include commercial properties in areas affected by wildfires.
Thank you, Chairwoman and members of the board. For the reasons that the clerk just stated, we suggest that you strongly support SB 547 and urge that it be passed swiftly. And this is a bill to renew protections that were already in place originally through Senate Bill 824.
Move to approve.
Second.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
No comments online.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Okay, it's not quite 1:30, so we will go into supervisor and staff reports. I'll begin with Supervisor Rogers.
Yes, attended the RHA and GSA.
Thank you. Supervisor McCauley.
Another busy week last week. We had a nice community meeting through the San Joaquin River Conservancy in which we talked about priorities on the river where we can establish access. One of those priorities was the bridge by Ball Ranch. It's out there by Tesoro Viejo, connects Fresno County to Madera County. Our board would really like to see that bridge improved or rehabilitated. Also had the opportunity to attend a night on the town on Sunday. I was joined by Chairwoman Gonzalez as well as my Chief of Staff, Melissa Da Silva. A great production by Yosemite Unified and their band program. That's it.
Okay, Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Nothing from the previous week. I do have a groundbreaking for Canyon Creek Elementary this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. in Riverstone. And just a reminder for everyone, I have my coffee and conversation tomorrow morning at the Rancho's Library at 9 a.m. So that's from 9 to 10:30. We'll have county staff and other partners, including law enforcement, CHP, and others to give updates with what's going on in the county. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I'll just report that I attended the first 5 commission meeting. And as mentioned earlier, tomorrow is the kickoff of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. I think I'm reading a book tomorrow, so that should be fun. And also, I just wanted to announce that at the Valley Blueprint Conference, which is scheduled to be in Merced, the villages at Almond Grove received an award for their development for the Village D project. So our friends at the City of Madera, congratulations to them. And I guess everyone's invited to attend the awards ceremony. And I can provide that information if anyone's interested in attending. That's this Friday. With that, I will hand it over to our CAO. Anything to report?
Nothing to report, Chairman.
How about County Council
No report, Madam Chair.
and our Madam Clerk?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Chair, real quick, if I may, I neglected to acknowledge that today is my brother's 41st birthday, so I do want to publicly on the record state happy birthday to him. Much love for him and all his support for me. So thank you.
Happy birthday. Okay, it is 1:33. We will move into our GSA items, item 9A.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department, consideration of entering into an agreement with David Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $92,496 for the development of the Madera Subbasin GSP annual reports for water year 2024 and authorize the chair to sign.
Stephanie.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Stephanie Agneson, your Director of Water and Natural Resources. What is in front of you today is a contract with David's Engineering. They are the provider of the annual report. We were directed by the state to create a condensed version. And then there are some ancillary documents that each GSP group can put together. So the total, as stated, is around $92,000. The costs are shared in the item that follows with the 7 parties in the subbasin. Happy to take your questions.
Questions or comments from the board? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
And
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you. Item 9B.
Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department, consideration of entering into a cost-sharing agreement under the Memorandum of Understanding for the coordination among the groundwater sustainability agencies within the Madera Subbasin to develop the water year 2024 Madera Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Plan annual reports and authorize the chair to sign.
Thank you. This is a cost-sharing agreement for the Madera Subbasin Annual Report. Costs are shared 7 ways. The agreement you have in front of you has the 6 other agency signatures on it. This is the first one of these agreements that has been shared 7 ways in a very long time, so we are feeling good about this. Costs range for us from $17,000 or less, and for other GSAs that are in their own GSP group, they have costs of $7,407 plus their own costs. That is all I have. Happy to take your questions.
Questions from the directors? Do we have any public comment on this item?
None online.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Call for a roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Chair Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stephanie. That concludes our meeting. Our next meeting is April 15th, and we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much.